Marcos Fava Neves is a renowned global expert in food, agribusiness, and bioenergy strategies. As co-founder of Marcostrat Company, he has led international projects and research for over 300 agri-food organizations. Marcos is also the visionary behind the Doutor Agro platform and the Harvard Agribusiness School. As a professor at the School of Business and Administration of the University of Sao Paulo, and the author and organizer of more than 60 books, Marcos has delivered over 1,600 lectures in 25 countries. Please welcome to the Tipu IFAMA World Conference, Marcos Fava Neves.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here this morning. I want to start telling you that I'm very happy being here and I'm upset. You want to listen before the happiness or the motive for being upset? The happiness, okay, so let's vote happiness. Happiness is because I am in New Zealand and we are in Brazil. We have a lot of nice feelings about your country. In terms of how you do research and development, in terms of how you do agriculture, in terms of how you do one thing that I'm in love with, the issue of collective actions, working together, associations, cooperatives, making a small country like this with a small amount of population to lead certain business in the world. So this is the happiness, okay? Thank you for inviting me here. Now I'm upset because of two major reasons. The first reason, I have plenty, I'm sure, and you should be sure that I know that I am the obstacle between you and your food, between you and your satisfaction about this conference. So I'll plan to use only 1 hour and a half here in order to leave you guys have some time for at least to have an espresso from Brazil. The second reason is worse, that I'm upset. The organizers of this conference, they have done a wonderful job. But you know what they did? They sent a link of my presentation to my wife. And she's watching to me. She's watching. And as soon as I finish, in 1 minute, she's going to phone me and she's going to tell all the bad things that I've done over here. You didn't walk too much. You were not briefing. You were too nervous. You know, you said the word X 15 times and you were paying attention to a very beautiful lady in the first row. This will happen at 11:45. Okay, so I think my time is gone. Thank you for your attention. It was a pleasure to be here in New Zealand. So let's talk about the future. First of all, how can we interact more? I want to tell you a nice story. I've been to this organization. Next year will be the 30th year. I started in 1994 in Caracas, and I can tell you in Venezuela, first meeting that I went, the organization started in 1991, created by Ray Goldberg, the guy that created the concept of agribusiness. And I can stimulate you to come to the next conferences because it's a wonderful moment for us to see each other. Part of my PhD was done in the Netherlands because of IFAMA. The more than 15 students that I advised in masters and PhD, they went to international universities because of IFAMA. We did the projects together because of IFAMA. So come back to IFAMA. It's going to be very nice. And also congratulations to BOMA, wonderful team. We had a chance to interact these days here. So I'll leave you with my contacts. And this presentation is based in 2 books, The Future of Food Business and Food and Agribusiness in 2030, which came up because of the pandemics. The pandemics hold us in our house and then we could write more. Unfortunately, that's one of the only benefits we may have from this time is trying to organize more our time, to be more confident in some type of things. So feel free to download them. If you are, link it to social media. Let's be together. It's a chance for us to interact every day. So I have the 3 platforms, 300 videos on YouTube, the Instagram, and also the LinkedIn. So these are all for you. It's knowledge for you and for your students. It's not changing here. Okay, so I have 5 minutes for each of these 3 topics for you. The new macro environment, part of what was discussed in the previous presentations. I want to do a 1 chart slide so you can take home. Then we'll talk about the future of food business, if it's going to grow or not. And finally, the issue of sustainability. And the answer is yes. The food business will grow a lot and sustainability is going to be very important. So I prepared a one-page resume for you to take home at the end of what do I think are hot topics for us to work with sustainability. So starting with the environment, just telling for some of the young guys here, they will not recognize these equipments. The first IFAMA, probably the 10th first IFAMA that I've been, we had to use that equipment over there on your left. Who knows who's that equipment? Have you ever seen that? Yeah? It was very sustainable. I had I had to store my data in these verbatins. Did you go through that? Yeah? Have you seen classes with slides projector? Diseases of plants, of animals. Remember, it got stuck always in the fourth slide. The professor was there, and then it had to start all again. But what I'm telling this to you, because we moved from this to that, to a moment where we can have answers. Of course, ChatGPT is not getting a 10 yet. It's getting 8.5, but it's going to get a 10 because it's getting all the books, getting all the knowledge, and will make our life easier in terms of information that we need. So it's incredible to see how this is going to threat us as agronomists, as lawyers, because at least the first stage of the answer of a question to a certain person, it's going to be able to give. So what's our role in the future? How are we as professors going to work with such a tool like that? And this picture here that you see on the right side is a robo that was in the place where I live in Brazil. It's a city called Ribeirão Preto. It's the heart of the agribusiness industry. And it was in our trade fair called Agri Show a month ago. Do you know what this equipment does? It goes over the crop, collecting information, collecting data. And during the night, it has a lighting system. As you can see on the white part, it attracts insects. And with electricity, it burns the insects. They turn over to fertilizers. So it's doing natural control during the night, and it's getting images for us to do what I think it's one of the most relevant topics of sustainability and of margins. That's the square meter management of farms. We cannot manage anymore in acres or in hectares because we're dead. We have technologies to manage in square meter, and Aidan touched in some of these. So to summarize the first part and move to the second part, I call this the moment that we are living, and I've been working in agriculture for 30 years. It doesn't look like 10, I know. But I went through, how do you call it, a makeup. It was a wonderful makeup, but here, that's why I'm so cute. It was a nice makeup that they've done here. It's a fake, okay? It's fake. It's going to be reality in 1 hour from now. So the 4 V's is that we're facing a moment where we have a violent variation of the variables. The variables we always had, but now we have a violent variation of them, bringing a lot of volatility. So to summarize the first part, I brought this chart here, which means the things that we cannot control, and the variation is incredible. The weather issues. This morning I read a report of the threats that we are facing with the El Niño. That's going to come very strong, and they are already simulating the increase of inflation in the world because of El Niño. That's one event. Look what happened with the human and animal pandemics. The issue in China with the swine fever, the issue that we face in the poultry industry now that you are following with the bird flu. So this brings challenges, this brings opportunities depending on the place in the world where you are. So we had, for instance, Brazil is the largest exporter of beef to China. We had a case of disease that we had to stop. It was not a normal disease. It's not a real threat, but we had to stop the exports for a month and a half, and you could see the cattle prices immediately going down. So these are things that we cannot control. Remember, last year we were in a break in the supply of inputs, suffering a lot here, our farmers, in fertilizers, in chemicals. The cost of a container was $2,000, went to $18,000, and then now it's coming back again. So we are kind of normalizing a little bit all these variables. Then we have who would tell us that in 2023 we would have a threat of nuclear war in the world? And it's there. What else? Inflation, interest, debt, costs. So we dumped money for people to buy things during the pandemics. Now we're paying the price because interest rates are going up. To control inflation, investments come down, and then we have the issue of unemployment. What else? The consumer movements and the tsunami of innovations, as Aidan pointed out to you, coming in, increase in pests and diseases. And for me, the most, of these 10 points, you ask, Marcos, which one worries you most? The issue of shortage of costs of labor. Shortage and costs of labor. I can see this in Brazil. To pick up oranges, to harvest coffee, we are lacking people in terms of quantity and quality in most of the operations. And we're having a people's inflation also, because companies are extracting from each other and paying more. So we are ending up losing competitiveness because we're raising the level of our most important thing in our companies, that is people. So, but do we have chances in the future? I understand that here, like I am, you are mostly involved in food production in several stages of the chain. We do have a lot of things because we have the stomach trilogy. What's the stomach trilogy? Stomachs continue growing in number and unfortunately in size, even mine. So we have number and size, makes them a little bit hungrier. Stomachs continue moving to cities, changing habits. And we may always think in the amount of stomachs that are not having what they wanted to have because they don't have income. This for me is huge. We have always to consider these billions of people that cannot eat beef because simply they don't want, not because they're worried with sustainability, they don't have cash. So that's one of the topics we must address when discussing the future of food business. And it's going to continue growing. So we have people coming all over the world. And if you look at the projections of the population 2050, look at the countries where we have more people coming. It's a coincidence, but these countries are the countries that have less resources to produce food. This is why I'm a believer in trade in the future. Look at those very, very large countries with 300 million people. Imagine the number of New Zealands that these countries are. Imagine how much they need. So it's incredible, and I think we have a large number of opportunities, and I'll touch the future of food business now. In terms of the most important commodities, and we finish with the sustainability pictures. Do you think the perspectives for grains are good? Can you change it to me? It's not moving. Okay, great. So yes, we have great chances in the market for grains and cotton because they are all going up. You can see here, these charts are from USDA. You can download whenever you want. And they project the markets until 2032, 33. So that's the perception. You can see on the left side, the blue one is soybeans and it's Brazil. Brazil is going to have in 10 years from now, 2/3 of the soybeans used in the world, the soybeans imported. It's a great opportunity for the country to grow. But you can see corn, cotton going up. How much does grain market grow every year? Do you have this number? It's a nice number to keep. If you look at the previous 15, 20 years, you can tell us that the grain markets grow around 40 million tons per year. That's what they need because of the three stomachs. Yeah? The people eating more, people going to cities. So we have around 40 million tons of grains, additional grains needed every year to keep a certain equilibrium. Let's transform this in areas. We know that most of the growth of the population comes from productivity gains, but we still need new areas. How much do we need every year? There's a study just launched by Illinois University telling us that we need 6.5 million hectares per year being added to the platform that we use all over the world to produce food to produce agriculture. So that's the number. So we have a chance in grains. What you expect from meats? What do you think about the graphs in meats? They all go up until 2032, 33. You can see on your left is the pork. You can see the issue of the African swine fever. Look there in the pork. And it's very interesting how China went up and then went down again, but it's going up. In the center, you have poultry. On the right side, you have beef. And for us, the beef producers, Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, US, we are very fortunate that the Chinese tasted beef and enjoyed beef, because the red one there is China. So Mr. Longbao, I don't know where you are here, thanks a lot. Eat a lot of beef because it's important for Brazil, Australia, New Zealand, and that's the issue. But coming back to the beef chart, if I was here in Christchurch, the other year that I was here was 2008, and you asked me, Marcos, what do you think about the future of the beef business? Oh, it's going to stay the same. Because look at the graph until 2013, 14, it's going to stay the same. It's not going to grow anymore. Because you have all this issue of the environment, it's not efficient in conversion, all that story that suddenly the consumer came and changed the rule of the beef game again. So we also have a positive, and for New Zealand this is very important, also for milk and fruits. Why you see here the graphs, the one on your left side is milk projections, so the per capita consumption will increase, and we have a bigger population in 10 years. So it's very positive. And on the right side, just a quick idea, the US, United States. Now, United States is a stable market, so it's not important for us in New Zealand. The US will increase the imports of horticultural products in 10 years in $100 billion. That's just the increase in the US for horticultural products, as you can see here in the bottom on the right. So we have the milk, fruit, and vegetables also helping us. We have a good chance also coming from biofuels. And you're following biofuels for Brazil. We are with biofuels since the 70s, when the military built up the ethanol program to reduce our dependence on imported oil. But you have mandates going on all over the world. You could follow what happened in the US when they started in 2005 mixing 10% of ethanol towards their gasoline. It's 140 million tons of corn, what they use every year to produce ethanol. We have Indonesia moving to B40, which means 40% of biodiesel. We have the new revolution, and I just came from the US, from Purdue University, I saw a presentation. It's the renewable diesel. The renewable diesel is not the biodiesel. And they're crushing soybeans to produce renewable diesel, and this will, of course, change the market of soybeans with their increase in what they're doing over there. And who is starting to become a loyal client of us in agribusiness? The airplanes. If you look at the jet fuel, the planning to be more renewable in terms of jet fuel is incredible. So there's a lot of chances coming up. I think, to summarize and finish, we have a yes for the first question. Do you agree with me? Markets will grow for agribusiness. The second question, what would you answer? Will we have prices? No. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Like the last 2 or 3 years were very good for corn producers, terrible for poultry and pork producers. Now the situation is good for pork and poultry producers, bad for the grain producers. So this is going to be always the same. We cannot guarantee. We know that we have demand. We cannot guarantee prices. And we need to finish with the issue of the future. That is not the future anymore, but today, yesterday, tomorrow. So I prepared, and this is my last slide, a 1-page for you to take home about the central message in sustainability. So I put it, I know it's a bit polluted, but you can take a picture, you can download it from Instagram, from LinkedIn in 5 minutes from now. And I'm picking up the 3 major, and I'll get out of the front here so you can have a picture without myself. Yep, okay. So these are the topics that I would think I would summarize for you in terms of what should we do to make this growth much more sustainable. It's the ESG, traditional ESG, and you're going to find topics of the coming days inside the chart that I produced. part of what's going to be discussed here in the conference is exactly what we should do. We should build up much more governance, because without governance we don't have the social and the environment. We should build up much more environmental techniques, and we should build much more social. I'm picking up just one in each to call your attention. So in terms of governance, I think we should implement a culture of sustainability in our company and within our suppliers. We should put pressure over our suppliers towards the sustainability issues. That's one of the things. In terms of environmental actions, technology, square meter management, not throwing fertilizers where they're not needed, not putting chemicals where they're not needed, use biologicals, use regenerative agriculture, circular agriculture. So these type of things are going on. We have several examples to give to you in all of these topics. And the last but not least is the part that I think we should pay more attention, is towards the social actions. Because our role in the world is to create opportunities for people. This is what we should do. And agribusiness has been a great creator of opportunities to people. So this list is available for you. It's a summary of what I would like us to work more. It's a kind of an agenda, because if we proceed to be much better in governance, in environment, and in social, the planet should not be worried with the need of growing the demand, because we will know how to do it in a way that is sustainable and in a way that we can create opportunities for people. Okay? Thanks a lot for your attention. It was a pleasure to be here.